Hey kids, this is Ivan. How you doing? Do you feel like it's too late to do the things that you wanted to accomplish in your life? Like the ship has sailed and you're standing on the shore and you screwed it up? Well, congratulations. A lot of people feel that way. And in this video, I want to look at why that is and why you're probably wrong. And let's get one thing straight. I am not a motivational speaker, nor is this video about trying to sell you something. I'm just looking at the problem because it's a problem I can relate to quite a bit as a 57-year-old Gen Xer who did not accomplish everything in life that he wanted to. Generally, when you click on a video about this, it's going to be all about money and finance and position and career, but it could be about anything. It could be about learning to play the bass guitar, which is a very worthy pastime. It could be about learning to keep aquarium fish, or learning to play role-playing games, or going and backpacking Europe. It could be learning about how the hell to play chess, really, or it could be the slightly easier learning quantum mechanics. It could be about finding true love, or getting free from addiction, or figuring out the trauma of your past and moving forwards. It doesn't really matter. What matters is you've reached a certain age and you look back and you're full of regret because you think it's too late to do these things that you wanted to do. You're stuck now. This is how life is going to be. It's not going to get any better. And these dreams that you had in the past, well, they're just a forgotten memory now. You screwed up. It's too late. So why do we feel like that? I can speak as a Gen Xer because now I'm at a certain age, 57, where we feel like we've lived a lot of our life. And in a lot of ways we have. We're past middle age. But I've talked to people that are much younger than us that feel the same way. Being involved in recovery from addiction, I talk to people all the time. I think of one person that's 28 and they feel like that it's too late for them. The things that they wanted to do, well, they're behind everybody else. And I can laugh now being a much older man, but I understand the feeling. I think a lot of what happens is we get sold this timeline from the time that we're children about how our life is going to progress or is supposed to progress. And we go to school, we go to high school, we go to college, we get a job, and then we're supposed to hit certain milestones at certain times. What, you haven't had kids yet? You haven't bought a house yet? What's wrong with you? You're not married yet? She's not married yet. Well, what's wrong with her? All that kind of BS. But we're programmed with these milestones. This is what you're supposed to be able to do. And we see all these examples in media of people accomplishing these things. And of course, they show us the prodigies, the best of the best. And so we're taught from a very early age to feel like there's something wrong with us if we're not hitting these certain milestones that other people have set for us at certain times, which other people have determined is the correct time. Locally, we also see a lot of people around us that have achieved these milestones, have done the things that maybe we want to do, and they've done it earlier than we have. They've somehow become more adults, or at least more adult in that one area. Or they took risks and they climbed Mount Everest, which I think is crazy. Backpacking Europe is a lot safer, but they visited Australia. They've learned to play the piano. They've maybe created a successful business, whatever it happens to be. We're constantly bombarded with all these messages from all these different sides telling us that we don't measure up unless we've checked off all these boxes and then we've checked them off at a certain time. And if we've set goals for ourselves or just had things we wanted to do when we were kids, if we haven't achieved them by a certain amount of time, we become convinced because of all this that we can't ever do them. Not only because we haven't lived up to the timeline we're supposed to live up to, but because time has elapsed and all of a sudden we're busy with other things. We've got a job, we've got obligations, we've got responsibilities, we have relationships, whatever it is, we have all these things in our lives that are all clamoring for our attention and we're spinning a bunch of plates, going back and forth wondering, well, how do I fit this other thing in there? It's too late. I should have done this when I was younger and had more time and more energy. And believe me, the older we get, the less energy we seem to have. While all that's happening, we're also being told that, well, when you're younger, you can learn these things much more rapidly, and when you get older, it's harder and harder, which is true. But that doesn't mean that we can't do these things, but that's the message we're getting. Going back to how busy our lives are, this is where it gets a little bit tricky. Because very often, if you're like me, you can have very unrealistic expectations of yourself. You have all these things that you want to do, and you think you should be able to do them all and do them all at once. And I've suffered from that since as long as I can remember. But here I am thinking that I should be able to do all these things and get better at the bass guitar and build a YouTube channel and go to work and maintain my relationships and lose weight. And I should be doing fantastic at all of them. Like I should be measuring my progress. It should be going much, much faster in all these areas. But in reality, there's only so many hours in a day. Sometimes we don't step back and realize that, well, I can do this other thing I want to do, but I might have to choose what I'm going to focus my attention on this day or this week or this month or this year to balance it all out. And sometimes we get so overwhelmed with that, where we put something down for a little while and then we're convinced, oh my God, I haven't done this in so long, like going to the gym right now and realizing I can't lift anywhere near what I used to. I haven't done this in so long. Well, it's hopeless. It's too late for me. I've screwed this up. And for some of us, we've had these behavior patterns we've repeated over and over in our life, these coping strategies or ways that we've navigated relationships or whatever happens to be that just aren't working. They haven't been working for a long time, but we keep on doing them. We find ourselves caught in these, bad relationships or with addiction, and we look back and see a whole part of our life, years or decades where we kind of messed up, and we figure, well, it's too late now to fix all this and to become the person I really want to be. And this is something I can relate to very, very strongly. At 44 years old, I found myself with 2 failed marriages. I didn't have a job. I was broke, and I was totally caught in the grips of addiction. And every day I woke up, wishing that I hadn't woke up. I wanted to kill myself, but didn't have the guts to do it, so I was doing it slowly with drugs over and over. And I thought it was completely hopeless. This was my life. This is how I was going to die, and I hoped it was soon. Now, that's really bleak. But there's a lot of people that find themselves in that predicament. And a little less extreme, but no less tragic, are all these people that they reach a certain point in their lives and they figure, well, this is it. This is all I can do. I'm not going to be able to do all these other things I wanted to do. I'm not really happy with my life, but I don't think I can improve it in any way. So I'm just going to keep going forwards because it's too late for me until it's all over. And them's the breaks. Maybe you're like me and you've tried things in the past, and as soon as you failed or it became really difficult, you stopped because it hurt too much. Maybe you're one of those people that's a little bit more sensitive. Or you've tried, given it your all, full steam ahead, you don't care about that, and there was a failure of some kind, and you walked away from that kind of broken, thinking, well, I shouldn't do this again because I screwed it up royally. And, either way, we find ourselves confirming this idea that we can't do these things because we've tried once and we failed, or we were the tall poppy in the field for a second, and the other people look at us and point at us and, cut the head off the poppy and all those things and told us to, stay in our place. Then we don't try anymore, and the longer we sit there not trying to do the thing, whatever it is, the more we regret it, the more we become convinced that it's just too late for us, that we're not going to be able to do it anyway, so why bother? Okay, that's enough of the video being bleak, so what the hell do we do about this? Well, the first thing you do is go check your pulse, get a mirror, put it under your nose. If you can fog up the mirror, if you've got a pulse, congratulations, you're not dead, there's still time. Okay, and the second thing, not that I really want to make a list of several things, but we'll see if I make a list or not, is to not be realistic, fuck realism, get some paper, write down a list of the things that you actually want to do. What have you regretted not accomplishing or not doing? What were the things you've always wanted to do or just got interested in doing that you want to accomplish? Then make a hierarchy. Which ones are the most important? And I'd be really honest with you here. If you're stuck in active addiction, alcohol or any other kind of drugs, that's number one. That's what you've got to get rid of, because that is going to kill you. And without getting rid of that, without getting into recovery or some kind of treatment and abstaining, not cutting down, but quitting, you're not going to accomplish anything else. Not to go off on a tangent, but if anything, that was the evidence, the concrete, tangible evidence for me that I was able to do these other things, because I thought I was completely stuck. And at age 44, I stumbled into a Narcotics Anonymous meeting and life has never been the same. And I've been clean for 13 years and 3 months or whatever heck it is. And that changed my life. But it was also this evidence that, it wasn't too late for me for that. Then it wasn't going to be too late for me to do other things in life. Once you've got these priorities, then you have to start figuring out, well, how do I do these things? Which means you're going to have to research it. You're going to have to ask for help. You're going to have to go find people that have done the thing that you want to do and ask for their guidance. Find the people that did it later in life. That's another benefit of being in recovery, is I've seen people come into recovery and all of a sudden, go from sleeping under bridges and other stuff to all of a sudden they have nursing degrees or other kind of college degrees or starting businesses, or they do go on the European trip or learn to play the guitar, bass guitar, which I think is really the only thing you should be learning to do, and maybe playing role-playing games. But you know what I mean, I'm joking. they actually start to accomplish the things they wanted to do in life, even though they felt like it was too late, like they'd ruined everything. And these are people in their 30s, their 40s, their 50s, sometimes 60s, going to college and getting degrees and, whatever it is that they really wanted to do. You've also got to get over this "it's too late" lie that you're telling yourself and that society is telling you. There are some things you have to be realistic about. Okay, maybe you're not going to have the same amount of energy. Maybe you're not going to learn things quite as quickly as somebody that's much younger and more spry. And you're not going to have as much time. So if I start investing right now, I'm not going to have the nest egg that somebody that's 20 years old that starts investing right now is going to have when I'm 60. It probably won't be very much at all. You just have to accept the limitations. And all we're really doing here is acknowledging the reality of the situation, that there are obstacles. And this doesn't mean that we can't do the thing. It just means it might be a little harder. That's it. The flip side of all this is we have a lot more experience than the people that are younger. And we can bring that experience to bear when we're trying to do something new or learn something new because we have experience learning stuff. We have experience in the world. We have a lot more resources that we can call upon in order to do these other things. We've got more connections. We can use these to our advantage. In my experience, another thing that's really important is doing the psychological work to figure out why you believe that you can't do the things that you want to do. Is it not just the programming? Although, getting rid of that programming is important, but there are other things in your psyche that lead you to believe that you're not going to be able to succeed or you're not going to be able to do the things that you want to do. What are these faulty beliefs? Where do they come from? And starting to unravel them. And so you might need to do a lot of psychological work, and that's part of it. And part of that psychological work, unfortunately, is actually starting to do the thing, picking up that guitar, starting the YouTube channel, starting to pay off your debt, asking that pretty person out, the thing, stopping using, whatever it is, starting, overcoming that inertia. It makes it a lot easier to continue. And maybe if you're like me, you're going to start to feel like you're doing everything wrong and you want to quit. The first time you fail, even a little bit, it feels like everything's, you've just screwed this up. There's no hope for you. Get some outside perspective. Get all the help you need in order to do the thing that you want to do. Get a guitar teacher. Get somebody that can walk you through the steps. That's not charging you $1 million, but that has your best interest at heart. You can find people like that out there that will help you and guide you as you start to learn the thing. A lot of people are really excited to see somebody else do something, especially if it's something that they're passionate about as well. And you have to make up your mind to say to yourself, screw what other people think and screw what that voice in my head thinks, because that inner critic can be really, really loud. You don't need to care what other people think. And when that voice is telling you, who do you think you are? You look foolish. Stop doing that. It's too late for you. Tell it to shut up. And I know that voice can be really loud and really insistent, but try to ignore it. It is not too late. If you're still breathing, you still have a shot at doing whatever it is that you want to do. And like I said, I'm not a motivational speaker, but I firmly believe that. And I have to tell myself that every day because, trust me, that voice in my head can be really, really loud. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, what your experience has been. Have you had one of those turnarounds in your life? Do you think you're completely stuck? Do you think I'm nuts? Or do you think I'm onto something? And if you'd like to support the channel, there's various ways you can do that. And thanks for watching. I'll see you later, kids.